Changing jobs as a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner. Does your salary just continue to go up and up and up every time you switch jobs? Or does it have to go back down all the way down to new grad level every time you start working in a new specialty or just change jobs in general? As usual, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, I'm Boris. I'm a physician assistant. I've been practicing for 2 years and have worked in 2 specialties, primary care and urgent care. And so when I switched to my urgent care job, I actually got quite a big pay raise, not to mention quality of life, work-life balance, that kind of thing. That's mainly why I made the switch. Plus just growing and learning as a provider, I felt kind of stagnant, kind of stuck, and honestly just a little bit bored in primary care. And I just really wanted to keep growing, keep learning, especially as a new provider. So that's really why I made the switch. That being said, that's not what this video is about. This video is all about, do you make more money when you switch jobs, or when you switch jobs, particularly into a different specialty that you have not practiced in already? Does your salary go all the way down to new grad levels because you've technically never practiced in the specialty, so you're essentially a new grad, right? Absolutely not. You're wrong. Totally wrong. Also, why am I recording this video? Well, it's in response to this question I got on my YouTube channel on my PA versus MD video. And this person wanted to know, if you could see behind me, maybe I'll move my fat head. This person, Don, wanted to know, I'm going to just read the question verbatim, right? So Don wanted to know, I've heard the ability to move around specialties, also known as lateral mobility, move around specialties being a plus for PAs. But a thought I had is, wouldn't you basically have to go back to being paid as an entry-level PA or NP every time you switch specialties? Is this just a trade-off that you accept if you want to switch things up, or does your salary actually continue to translate better than I'm assuming? All right, so this is basically a response to Don's question. So it's kind of in the middle. The truth is in the middle. Let's say you have 2 years of experience working in primary care, and then you take a job with a cardiology practice. No, you have not worked as a cardiology PA or NP. So yes, you are kind of new to the field. However, you have all that experience in primary care, using an EMR, being a PA, being in the provider role, managing your nurses, medical assistants, front office staff, all those folks. You've worked in the function of a PA. Plus, you have some rudimentary cardiology experience from your time as a primary care PA. So you're not exactly a new grad. You kind of washed off that, as we call it, new grad stink, where you're just like deer in the headlights. You don't know what the heck's going on. You're so scared of everything. You're so scared of prescribing your first medication, making a decision, hurting a patient, pissing a patient off and getting a bad review. All that stuff that really just like slows you down and holds you back from being the best PA you can be. All that stuff, after 1, 2, 3 years of experience, you're just totally used to it. You know your role as a provider, particularly as a mid-level provider, a PA or NP. Okay, so you're not exactly a new grad, even though you don't have experience in that specialty. And how does that translate over to salary? Well, no, you absolutely would not. And if they're trying to get you to accept that, you should not accept a salary as a new grad. So location obviously varies widely with how much you're getting paid. If you're in most parts of the country, the Midwest, the South, depending on where, usually new grad PA and NP specialty salaries start around between 90 and maybe 110, maybe 120K in certain areas. Places in California, places that are very rural and are desperate for mid-level providers, certain specialties, yeah, they might start higher, but usually it's, those high 90s, low $100,000 range for starting salaries for mid-levels. So should you accept that kind of salary as a PA or NP that already has experience in a different specialty? Absolutely not. You should be asking for more than that, 110, 120, 130, whatever it may be, plus obviously vacation time, bonus, all that other good stuff that goes into negotiating our contracts. So you should definitely be starting higher than a new grad as an experienced PA, even experienced in a different specialty. That being said, should you demand a salary that an experienced person in that specialty would demand? No, you should be somewhere in the middle. So for instance, I'll give a very good example. Let's say cardiothoracic surgery, okay? Everybody in the PA community knows that cardiothoracic surgery PAs are some of the top dogs as far as specialty salaries go. As far as PA salaries, they're in the high 100s, even low 200s, even sometimes mid 200s. As far as how much they can make per year, it's one of the highest compensated mid-level specialties, particularly for PAs. So let's say you get a job in cardiothoracic surgery as a new grad. Now, this is all not, hard numbers. I'm not actually talking about an actual job. I'm just saying my experience, salaries I've seen, people I've talked to. Let's say a new grad starts in cardiothoracic surgery. Maybe they pay him, I don't know, ballpark 120, 130 starting out, and they'll probably be working a lot of hours and probably not getting paid as much as a lot of their colleagues because they're still learning the job. But when they start getting experience, let's say they're especially like 2 years in, they've learned a lot, they know how to do a lot of the procedures, they're not being, babysat, they're not getting their hand held by all the experienced mid-levels, they know what they're doing on their own, they've gotten used to the quirks and eccentricities and preferences of the surgeons that they work with. Now they're actually a trustworthy, experienced cardiothoracic surgery PA. Now they're going to start pulling those mid 100, high 100, even low $200,000 salaries that a legit cardiothoracic PA can make. So let's say you're brand new to the field, a new grad, that's probably about what they'd expect. Let's say you've already worked cardiothoracic surgery for 2, 3, 4, 5 years in another specialty, and you move locations for whatever reason, you've got a different cardiothoracic surgery job, but you're still doing essentially the same thing. Yeah, you could probably demand to make about the same thing that your colleagues would make. It'll take you a lot less time, a few weeks probably, to really ramp up and get used to it and just be a legit PA working in that specialty. So you could probably demand, 150, 180, whatever the other PAs in that group make. Let's say you have experience in a different specialty, but not that particular specialty. I would probably demand somewhere in between what a new grad makes and what an experienced PA in that specialty makes. And then obviously your salary will go up once you get more valuable and once you get more experienced. And also, don't ever forget the possibility of locum tenens jobs. So as a cardiothoracic PA, you definitely have the opportunity to work locums. And, 1099, usually those guys can make a killing. Those guys can make so much money because they're experienced. They're just plug in play. They don't really have to get trained all that much. They've done it in 1, 2, preferably a few different specialties, a few different practices working the same specialty, cardiothoracic surgery. So let's say they have worked 3 different practices, 3 different teams. They know a bunch of different EMRs. They've worked with a ton of different surgeons. They're very experienced as a cardiothoracic surgery PA. Now they can just plug and play. The locums people are confident that that person can, pull their weight, can work very well, very efficiently anywhere they put them. Then those guys can make a killing, tons and tons of money. So I'm not trying to make this like a cardiothoracic surgery video. I don't personally work in that field. It's just one that I use as an example of something that your salary really depends on how much experience you have. So to answer Don's question, is every time you change specialties, are you going to go start all the way at the bottom as like a new grad? No, you absolutely should not start that way. You should not accept a new grad type salary. However, you should not also accept or expect the same kind of salary that an experienced PA or NP in that specialty would earn. Probably somewhere in the middle, closer to new grad territory, but not quite new grad territory is probably fair. And then, of course, with growth potential, if you get better and better and better, more and more efficient, you learn your job much quicker, much better, then you can start ramping up how much you make. And then every time you change specialties, let's say you get sick of cardiothoracic surgery, let's say then you want to go practice dermatology. Okay, that's got a very steep learning curve, and you'll probably go back down. You'll take a pretty major pay cut at first, not quite to new grad level, but you will take a pretty major pay cut at first. And then once you get better, more efficient, you build your client base, you know how to do more and more procedures, you don't really need help from other PAs and from the dermatologist. You can do things on your own more and more. That's when you'll get more and more valuable. And ideally, the more experience you get, even in other specialties, the quicker you'll get to that profitable, competent status. And that's where you make the big bucks in any specialty as a PA. All right. So I hope that answered that question. I'll see you guys in the next video.